All right, if you have never rolled a coil, you're going to take a piece of clay and use your whole hand to roll it along a surface. You don't want any water on it. If you have any water on it, it'll stick to the surface. If you're rolling it and it starts to flatten, you can twist it like I just did and then keep rolling. So I twist it a little so it stays round while I roll, and then I roll the twist back in. The next step would be to get some water on it. In case you notice at the end it's a little cracked, you can just wet it with a sponge or even dip the whole coil in water. So I turned my coil, looks like a C, backwards C, and cut the ends off so it looks nice and straight. I also have other coils I'm going to use to create my handle, which is going to be part of a clock. So my mug has been in a plastic, so it's still moldable, but it has held on to the shape of my original cylinder. First thing I'm going to do is smooth it and get out any bumps and cracks before I attach my handle. All right, so I'm using a sharp edge. It's wooden, but I'm just scraping up to try and get any bumps and lumps out. Your tube is no longer inside your mug, so you can use your hand to hold it steady on the inside, especially if your clay is very, very soft. And then you can switch over to a sponge or just simply use a sponge and water. So my hand is holding my mug so it doesn't deform it. And I'm using lots of water and getting out all of the weird finger indents that I had actually made before. Take a long time making sure your mug looks great before you attach the handle. You also need to smooth the edge of the top of the mug because you are going to be drinking out of this. You don't want it to be sharp or jagged. You want the glaze to coat it well later, so you need to make sure it is smoothed really nicely with a sponge, so when someone actually does drink out of it, they don't have any jagged parts. No little chunks of clay should be left. Take your time with this. I'm fast forwarding my video, but I took a really long time. When you're ready to attach a handle, whatever the shape is, make sure you score it on both the body of the mug and the end of your handle. So remember, scoring is roughing the edges up. You can put a little water on afterwards if you want, and then you're going to attach it. The problem with attaching is that sometimes we lose the clay or we use up a lot of the clay to attach it. So I'm going to show you how I fix that. I make little tiny band-aids of clay. You can see I have one in my hand. It's actually just a little tiny coil. First, I'm going to attach my handle and use the clay from the handle to drag onto the mug. I'm going to go all the way around for both the top and the bottom. When you do that, you use a lot of the clay, and it gets thinner and thinner and thinner. So to make sure that it's got clay on it and it's as thick as you want, you can add some afterwards. So here I am just still attaching the original handle. It looks a little thin. And now I'm going to take, I'm not done attaching, sorry. Okay, here we go, finishing it up. And now I'm going to take my little extra piece and wrap it around the edge. Now it's not going to look like I have thinned out my handle where it connects. As long as I blend in that extra little piece of clay I'm adding right now, it'll look nice and smooth and it won't be a really thin connection where the handle is. So I'm basically just adding clay around it, like a little wreath of clay, so the handle is sturdier. And I'm hiding it. So first step is to blend it in. The second step is to smooth it with a sponge. So I fast forwarded right there. Now you can see I blended my extra pieces of clay in. Doesn't look that different at all, but now they're sturdier where the handle's connecting. And I'm using a sponge now to smooth it. So it should look really nice and smooth. Take your time, blend the clay in, make sure it's blended together and you can't see any weird lumps or extra chunks of clay. If you see an extra chunk, you can scratch it back off with a wooden tool and then smooth it. So my creation is going to turn into a clock. The clock face will be painted on the mug, and then the handle will be part of the clock that's kind of broken apart. If you aren't sure how to get your handle to stay in place, maybe yours is a different shape than mine, you can wad up paper towel and set it next to it. You can set some inside the handle. You can put sponges around it, inside or outside, while it dries. And that will keep it in place while it's drying. All right, my entire mug has been smoothed out. I fast forwarded it a lot. The inside is smooth, the outside is smooth, and now I'm gonna work on my details. So you won't probably be able to see all of my details right now. I'm putting the top of like a watch, to wind a watch here at the top of my mug handle, and then I'm going to put on a coil for the side and blend it together. Anything you would applique on or attach on, remember you need to hide the seams. So use extra clay if you need a clay band-aid, get your wooden modeling tools and make sure you blend it all together. So here I'll just do some fast-forwarded snapshots of my mug, and then there'll be more added when I obviously paint it. It's hard to tell what it is right now.